go. Alright. So, our whole brochure is about spending a weekend in Bristol, Virginia. It's meant for a family, which includes kids, parents, and grandparents. One of the things that we thought would be cool to do is Backyard-Bristol Dinosaur Park. It's basically just a trail park that has like dinosaur sculptures hidden around it. And I think that would be cool to go find them. And then there is a drive-in theater, which you don't really see anymore. So I thought that would be interesting, mostly for the kids, because it's an old type of thing. And then this is a video of the dinosaur park.
Welcome to Backyard-Bristol Dinosaur Park. Located in Bluff City, Tennessee, the park offers life-size creations of your favorite dinosaurs. From the famous T-Rex to the flying pteranodons, you can stand toe-to-toe with your favorite Mesozoic monsters. The park is open 7 days a week from 9 to 9. The best part is, admission is free, tours are self-guided, and donations are welcome. All of the dinosaurs are recreated with the latest scientific knowledge. Looking for a souvenir? Be sure to stop by the Fossil Findings gift shop, where you can learn a bit about fossils and take home a memento of your visit to Backyard-Bristol Dinosaur Park. The park is great for family outings and school trips. We even host birthdays. Stop by today or contact us on the web at backyardterrace.com to stay up to date on the latest special events. See you there.
So that looked pretty cool when I saw it. Of course, you're gonna need lodging if you're expected to stay there for the weekend. So the main problem with finding somewhere that houses that many people, but luckily Whistling Timbers is a cabin and it houses 7 people. It's in Bristol. I don't know exactly where. It's $175 a night, 4 bed, 2 bath, and it houses 7. So that's a good amount. And then of course you're gonna want to eat in the morning or just late at night, have a treat. And Blackbird Bakery is a good place for that. 5-star bakery. And it's also a cafe, in case you like coffee, but coffee's gross, so don't drink it. They got cakes, tarts, pastries, anything you can think of, they got it. And then the main reason people go to Bristol is the Country Music Museum, so had to include that. Kids 5 and under are free. It generally $11. You go there, it isn't really instruments, like showing you instruments and stuff. It's more of how it became popular, how it got to this area, and that it's still popular. And that it's very, very influential in the Appalachians still. Some more places to eat. Chicken Little Diner. It's a 4-star little diner. It's what you expect. Diner food and mostly based around chicken. It's pretty good. I like it. Of course, perfect place for lunch with your family. You don't want to go too fancy because kids might act up. Don't want to go too bland because you're on vacation. Hours, pretty standard. 6 a.m. to 8:30, except for Saturdays. They like to close early on 7. Classic burger bar and chow down. It's really just a thematic type diner of retro burger places. Again, 11 to 7 p.m. except for Saturday. They just go until they run out of stock. And then State Street, another famous thing, is where Tennessee and Virginia meet up, and you can be in both states at once. That's the only thing my dad knew about Bristol. And I think that's it. Right? So, the history of Bristol, mostly when I was doing my research for Bristol, I couldn't find anything like after 1900s, which is weird, but like anywhere from like 1850 to like 1920s is where most of the history is whenever you're researching it. So that's what generally most of my history is about. But in 1852 is where it all really started, which the heart of Bristol was a part of a plantation by Reverend James King and his son-in-law, which are the ones who really kind of started Bristol itself and kind of developed it throughout the way it was. The main reason for it was two railroads would meet upon in the King land. So, but railroads were a big thing back then. So if you had a railroad that would meet in a city, that was pretty big on its development, considering, you know, railroads were how everything developed and how everything was transported. So if you had a railroad, it was pretty big during that time period. They also started to be contracted with 100 acres on the King plantation. It was kind of split, 48 and then 52. So it was kind of half and half, which kind of really started the split of Bristol and Virginia and Bristol and Tennessee. 852, he chose the name Bristol for the city, but it was also almost named Paradise, which would have been a pretty weird kind of paradise. And then the survey of Bristol began in 1852 as well, when they kind of both started doing both sides evenly. And then they started the residence and business house erected on the southwest corner of State Street and Martin Luther King Boulevard, which was the first building erected in the town of Bristol and was the beginning of the city.
The Bristol Post House opened November 5th. His General Mercantile Store opened December 24th of the same year. Banking began in 1854, and now it's called, this corner is called the birthplace of Bristol, as you can probably assume, because, you know, that's where, you know, everything started to like come together to be like a real town. Samuel Goodson, who owned the adjoining original town of Bristol, at its northern boundary, Beaver Creek is the divided line, started a development known as Goodsonville in 1856. That town was the original Bristol, Virginia, where it merged from the composite town of Goodson, Virginia. However, the plot continued to be known as Bristol, Virginia. In 1890, the development of the Virginia side became Bristol, as it's known today as the Twin Cities.
And this is kind of a comparison between the 1900s and how it looked based on how it is today, which a lot of the buildings that were in this are still the same. Not a lot has changed except just the modernization of it, as you can see. But it's just a little comparison of how it was back then to how it is now. That's all.